Welcome back and many thanks for tuning in to the Morning Dew Show and for choosing Dysart TV as your channel of choice. Thank you so much for tuning in to the section of current affairs that was with my co-host Kelvin. And right about now, this is Let's Talk with Wairimu, and I'm delighted to be hosting a very beautiful lady, young, energetic, enthusiastic. Wow, all that into one. Tony Joyce. It's Joyce Tony.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante. Yes.
So who is Joyce Tony?
Joyce Tony is a lady, a young lady in business, a mother and a wife. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it, and that's the conversation we are right about to have. It is women in entrepreneurship. I know you've been in business for quite some years. Can you take us through your journey?
All right. I've been in business for some years. Began with events. Began in events around the year 2014. That's when we began doing events. Generally decoration. I used to be in church, enjoying, decorating, making the place look beautiful. Then along the way, some of my leaders challenged me that I could take it high and make it a business. So that's how we began in events. We began, it became a serious business in 2015, whereby we did some events for some friends. And step by step, we kicked on, got connections. One would come and see an event that we have done, and they would refer another one. And that's how basically events grew. Besides that, I had a passion in baking. So I would do that as a hobby, at home. But come 2020, Corona happened, and we would no longer do events. So I sat at home and thought, I've been baking, so why not try doing it at home and try making it a business? So we came to Moranga in 2020, beginning of 2020, and that is when Corona happened. So I began baking from home. Began, I would go around. I would take my snacks, whatever I would bake around, and people became interested in what I was doing, and that's how baking grew in 2020.
So from taking round to shops,
yes,
to owning a shop,
yes.
What is the secret?
I always say that before you rush into opening a shop, it's important for you to know whether the business that you're doing is viable. Like you market yourself, you need to know if really what you're taking to the people, it can be bought. So that's how that's why I decided to do my rounds and quotes and quotes hook to people and see if they would love what I'm doing. So perseverance, it was not easy. People who knew I had gone to campus were like, you are hawking, so it was not easy. Doing savings. And also my husband really supported me in putting up the business. When now, later in 2021, I decided that I think I wanted to own a shop to put now, because now people are asking me, where are you located? You can't always bring your clients home. So that's when I decided to take a step of faith and open a shop. Yes.
How has it been? What are some of the challenges?
Challenge number one is consistency. People always think that employing yourself is the easiest thing, which is not true. It is the hardest thing, because the minute you sleep that business, you will not get an income. So one of the greatest challenges has been consistency, being consistent in making the business work upward. And by God's grace, it has been good. God has really given me favor, and yes, I can attest it to God.
I know a lot of women out there watching us, they go through the same challenge, and most of them feel a point and they feel like, I cannot do it. What keeps you going? Like, what is that one thing that makes you wake up, even if maybe you baked a cake, it crumbled, or it didn't come out as it should have? What really keeps you going, or what should keep a woman going?
I think it's very important, one, to identify your area. Because if it's not your area, then you will not even have the enthusiasm to work on it. but most of all it's just basically knowing what you're called to do. Once you identify and know that this is what I am called to do, then put your best foot forward. I always say that there's nothing good that comes easy. It's very hard to be in business and to sustain it. But the moment you decide that this is gonna work, it has to work. So even if I bake today, it crumbled, it has happened many times. I bake, it has backfired, but I keep telling myself I can't give up. People who are up there never never give up. So that's what keeps me going. That I have one day, I look at where I want to go, and every day I take it. It's like going back to the drawing board. I always take it back to my drawing board, and this is where I want to be. I always write down where I want to be in the next few weeks, months. I keep reevaluating myself. Yes.
You've talked about something very important about writing down, and I know a lot of times women will wake up and I had an idea with so and so, I had an idea with so and so, and I just go borrow money from the chamas or from elsewhere, and boom, I'm in business.
Yes.
What is the danger of that?
If you haven't identified your market well, please don't take any money. In fact, personally, when I began baking, I never took money from anywhere. I began with what I had in the house. Flour, margarine, I used what I had in the house to identify if this really can work. Then after doing that, and surely I saw this can work, I topped up my savings, and that is why now I was confident enough to ask for some more money to inject into now something that I had already seen can work. So it's very dangerous to take money and inject into something new that you have no idea if it really will work. Yes.
Let's talk about family. You said you're a family woman.
Yes.
And I'm seeing you as an example of many, many women entrepreneurs out there. How do you balance between work and family? Especially being in an event kind of area, I know it can be quite tiresome. There can be so much going around there.
Yeah. Balancing is never easy. It's never easy to be in business and you're in family and balance all that. But I always say that it's important to create a schedule for everything. Something like events is something that comes up. You don't. Sometimes it's hard to plan. Some events keep coming up. I mean, they crop up in the middle of the week. You're called, and there's a business. So what I normally do is that one, I have with time I have looked for help. I have gotten some people to work with, so that I'm not just overwhelmed. You cannot do everything by yourself. So I've gotten help from. I have a very nice lady we work with at the shop. So such that when now I'm done with events, I can now go home and be with my family as she takes care of the shop, and I'll not be worried that the shop will not be running. So of course sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes some nights we have slept out with my husband doing events. But at the end of the day, you are looking at this one day, and then tomorrow we can be able to rest and be with the kids. So it's always very important to keep it in mind. Otherwise, you'll be carried away by the whole idea of making money. Yes. And
interestingly, you keep saying that you work together with your husband.
Yes.
I hear a lot of complaints with families, maybe even partners, let me call them partners, where a man says, my wife does not support me, or the lady keeps complaining, he does not support me. So what's the secret to keep you bonding together, and why is it important, one, to work as a family, especially for ladies?
Yes. That's an interesting question. Because I can't say it's been easy, especially, synchronizing the fact that this is business. And for him, I think he took time to understand that I'm the one in business, and he gave me support to interact with clients. Once you are able to know that this is my area, and this is, this is your area, this is his area, and you are working together, you're working together towards the same goal, it becomes easier for you to. It's hard if none of you chooses to understand the other one, But if you choose to understand that she is business oriented or he is business oriented, give them the support. Not sio kuachilia, like leaving them out of the picture. Letting them deal with the whole idea, but be with them work together as a team. If you know that this is where we want to be in the next few months, in the next few years, then you will be able to grow together. Yes.
What you're saying is that they should create goals as partners.
Yes, you create goals as partners. If you know this is a business that is working for you too, it's important to keep at it. Keep at it. There will be many challenges, by the way. I think if you was here, you would say it has not been easy, you know. But I think when you identify that this is your area, this is your strength, at the end of the day, you two are working towards the same goal. Yes.
Let's talk about managing funds. I know a lot of women have fallen victim of not being able to manage maybe their company funds, and women, we are known to buy things sometimes we don't really need. How do you manage your finances as a lady in business to avoid being swept away by, let me call it, peer pressure?
Yeah.
I know it happens.
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot. I can't say I've been perfect in that area because sometimes, you know, money comes and you feel like, I want this, I want this, I want this. But the importance of money, I mean, the most important thing is to always write down what you want to do even before money comes, so that by the time money is coming, you know that there's something you had already projected. So it's always important to write down what you want to do, with or without the money, especially before money comes. You write down what you want to do. That will really help you avoid doing things in an impulse way. Of course, there are things that happen, things come up which you may not avoid. In such cases, it's always important to sit down and reevaluate between what I had put down and this that has come up, what is more weighty. Yes, and that will help you manage funds. I've not been, you know, the best in that area, but I'm really trying so that I don't fall a victim of the company going down, running bankrupt. Yes, so it's always important to write down what you want to do. Write down what you want to do even before money comes. So when money comes, you will be able to know that this is what was important even before, because money has a way of making you excited, and you feel like, now I can do this. Now if you have something extra, then you can always look at that something extra that you wanted to do. Yes.
And as a lady with a supportive partner, how do you ensure that maybe he injected some money into your business?
Yes.
How does it go back, or how do you balance so that it doesn't get to a point where, hey, I'm giving you too much and I'm getting too little of what I'm bringing in?
You know, when you're bringing money, it's not my money. Whatever I get in business is not my money, it's our money. Whatever he put there is our money. So that is always important to note, that nobody has their money. We are doing this for the benefit of the family. But once you look at it like it is my money, it becomes a problem. So it's nobody's money. We put it at the table like we are doing this for the benefit of the family. Now, once you do that, it becomes easier to deal with issues, because at the end of the month, I will say the business has this, and then he will say this is what we coming together to reevaluate. So it's never it's not really difficult once you look at it like it is not my money. So even when I'm running business, one would think that it is my money. It is not my money, it is our money, because we put effort into bringing this up. Yes.
How do you generate new ideas to keep the business going?
I look at what is in the market.
Or how should an entrepreneur look into generating new ideas?
Don't be rigid into trying out something. If I was so rigid and held onto deco, when events went down, then I wouldn't have realized that we can do baking and come up. Don't be rigid. Of course, there are people who say that stick on one lane. Like there are people who really stick on one lane. If it works for you, then go for it. But it's always important to try out, because some of us are multi-skilled. And then there are things that keep coming up. Say cakes. The cakes we used to bake in 2020, some of them are outdated. Now there are new other ideas coming up, and people know about them. So it's always important to keep yourself up to date with what's happening. Try out. make it work in your business. Don't be too rigid. Always keep your ears on the ground. Do a lot of reading. I mean, I'm not a very good reader with books, but I do a lot of internet, like to know what's coming up, you know, interacting with other bakers, know how things are done differently, so that when people come to you, they can see that you have new ideas, you can do other things that they had maybe no idea about. Yes.
So what you're telling women out there is that don't be rigid. Whatever field you are in, keep researching.
Keep researching.
Keep reading.
Yes.
Wow. At that point, we're going to take a short commercial break. I've seen cakes here.
Yes.
So I know we're going to look into that, but that is after a short commercial break. Don't go too far. This is Let's Talk with Wairimu, and this is the Morning Dew Show here at Dissect TV. The scenes, and it's about how precisely, let me say ladies, though it's not an issue with ladies alone, it happens even to gentlemen or everyone in business, where for example you're making cake and your preferred taste is strawberry, so you feel like there is need to be making more strawberries than any other flavor.
It's always important to know your market. In business, it's not about you, it's about the people and that is why, like I said in the beginning, it's important to do a survey, because that's how it should be your motivation. The idea of business is service to people, so that they can buy your service. So it's important to do a service. Know what do people like, what are they interested in. Like there's a flavor personally I don't like, but I realized people are really into it, so I had no choice. I had to do what people like. It may not be my preferred taste, but it is what people like. So it's not about, the business is not just about you, it's about what is in, I mean, what wanapenda nini, what do people like. So that is the most crucial part. I personally experienced that, and I had to, I thought vanilla is not interesting, but people like it. People don't like strawberry. I like strawberry, so I had a way of wooing some of them, but eventually I realized what people like may not be what you like, so you make what people like. Yes.
I want you to look into that camera and talk particularly to that young lady, or that whatever age they could be, wishing to open a business but they do not have maybe the mega resources.
All right. Business number one is, putting up a business, it's not first about resources, it's about doing a survey. Begin from where you are. Nowadays, we have a very interesting way of doing business. People have embraced the media, social media. You can do, like, there's one time I sold handbags. One time I was on maternity leave. I sold handbags. I didn't open a shop for that. I knew where I was getting them. They would give me photos. I would post them on my timeline. People would place orders and I would deliver. So you not necessarily have to have a capital. Sometimes you can get the idea of what you want, post it on your social, pages, and then when people like that, then you can get it, give them. It's like barter trade. When they give you the money, then you can, especially if you have a good rapport with where you are getting your items from. Don't be stressed. Don't be so fixed on this is the amount I want to begin with. Begin with, are people interested with what I am selling? Then if people are interested in what I am giving them, then you can now think of a way of getting that, giving them this. Start small. That is the biggest challenge that we have with people nowadays. People want to go boom into a huge thing, to shake people. Begin small. Begin where you are. You don't have to begin with a lot of money, and be step by step. You make a step upwards, growing, instead of putting up something you do not know if it will work, and then it starts going down. So it's always important to begin small. Try bits and bits. Are people interested? If it doesn't work, it won't hurt you, because you didn't take a loan, you didn't inject a lot of money into it. And then if people are interested, now you can grow small, and then now people can see if maybe this is a viable idea, and then you can get, maybe say from a chama 5,000, put it into the business, and then once it grows, you can be able to refund that way, kidogo until you get where you want to be. Yes.
What are some of the challenges female entrepreneurs face? Especially maybe on your case, have you ever faced that one challenge, and let me state it, where people feel like they should maybe give you business because you're a woman, or they should not give you business because you're a woman, or they should not give you certain services because you're a woman?
Because I'm a woman, I think not really. Maybe there are some types of businesses which I may not be able to talk about because I have not been into them. But one that I found challenging, close to what you're saying, is the events business. In events, especially dealing with tents and what have you, it's mostly a man's job. Many men are the ones who are doing the tents and what have you business. So it was quite a challenge when I began, because sometimes you get on the ground and it's men who are dealing with these things and you're a lady. Sometimes there is that, I have experienced that, some looking down on you, wakati mwingine kuchezwa. Like people don't, like some will not deliver what you expect, because personally I mean I would get tents from somewhere, and once they have come to be set up, it's not what you had talked about, and then the men will be like, you know, especially those who are bringing them on site. At the beginning it was that challenging, but it's very important to grow your confidence. When a person says you are confident about what you are doing, you will not fight about it. They will say you know what you are doing. You know, you will not be seeking people's opinions about your business, about who you are. Once you know who you are, it's important, very important, to know your worth even before you get into the business. Because I tell you, people will come. I've experienced that. Sometimes you will do something, it's not up to someone's expectations. You will hear some words here and there. And if you do not know why you're into that business, I tell you, you will close it. But once you know why you are in that business, you will work to make it better, and you will not be discouraged by what people say or how they look at you.
So the idea is to get your purpose.
Get your purpose right. Get your purpose right.
I want to go back to a question I had asked you earlier about funds and finances.
Yes.
Because I know this is a challenge with a lot of people, entrepreneurs especially.
Yes.
There is a lot of times you find someone saying, hey, my son has been sent out of school because of school fees. How about I pick 10,000, take it there. When I get more money, I'll inject into my business. What is the danger of that? And this cuts across everybody.
Yes. For the few years I have seen, I mean, I have not been in business for so long, but for the few years I have been, the first times I did that many times. And I would find that now when it's time to do business, I have no money. I have to look for money to inject again into the business. So it happened many times. But I think as time went by, I realized that it's a dangerous trend. Because what happens is when you have no more money to put into that, your business will close down. So this is the important part I noted. When it's business money, it's business money. Unless you are so sure that there's money that will come and you will refund, don't touch it. Say for example, stock. Say I am selling this dress at 2,000 and I bought it at 1,500. 1,500 is meant for that dress. It's not my money. It's ni pesa ya hiyo biashara, that 1,500. The only money that could be mine there is that 500, which is the profit. Now, if I'm so sure that I can get that 500 to refund, then there is no harm, because you are the one who is managing your finances. But if you are not sure about, in fact, I always say, if you're not sure about how to manage your money, get somebody who is experienced to give you guidance on how to manage that money. Otherwise, there are times I'll keep quiet. I mean, I'll look like I'll have no money, and it's true, I have no money to spend. What I have is business money, which I cannot just take and spend elsewhere, because I know end month is coming, I'll need to restock. Now, if I used that 1,500 that I had, you know, the whole 2,000, say for this dress, and where will I get the money to bring back that dress? So it's always important to, because once you do that, if you keep on being a trend, it will be very hard for you to adjust in the future. So this is my thought, or this is what I always do. Whenever money comes in, I set aside the capital, the initial capital that I spent. Like I sell some baking supplies. If I spent 4,000 in buying something, I'll make sure that that 4,000, once I sell that 4,000, I will put it aside. Then the money that comes later, now that one, if something pressuring comes, then I can use that one. But it's not always so. unless something comes that is so demanding that I'll have to use the 4,000 that I initially put, and that I will have to refund so that the business will keep going. So this is it, ladies. I know we have an issue with impulse buying. We have issues with impulse buying. I mean, some of us as family women, we have issues to attend to. Sometimes you think this one, you have to do this, you have to do this. Think ahead. If you keep robbing that business, 3 months from now, you rob it now, 3 months from now, what are you going to do? So think about the future. It won't hurt if today you tell your kids, we are not going to take this because you want to put the money back into business, and then you'll be able to buy them later in the future. So discipline is very key when you're running a business. It's very, very key.
I love the fact that you have said it is robbing your business.
Yes.
Wow. Let's talk about borrowing money to inject into business, especially loans. We have an advantage. We are in Chamas. There are a lot of agencies, money lending agencies all over coming to your businesses to tell you, hey, we're giving you 10, 20,000. You refund in 1 month. It sounds so
enticing.
Easy to get the money, and it's enticing.
Yeah.
But
especially some of those, I think one of the problem that makes us be enticed, it's because we want to grow big within a short time. I have had a challenge with that. Sometimes I look at this and I say, if I was given 100K right now, my friend, what are the things I would be able to do? But again, you look at it, maybe that 100,000 you're paying back with an interest of 20, and that 20 maybe is the profit you would have made within that time. So why don't you do with what you have, especially if you are not very sure about what you are doing. Again, the current trends nowadays, you cannot really be able to calculate properly, especially because of COVID and because of the other challenges that are coming up. Now we are headed to elections. I'm not in any way doubting that business, I'm not even in any way saying businesses will go down, but those are some of the things that affect business. You know, COVID, biasharas close, you know. So if you had taken a loan, how about that? So this is what I always say. If it is in the case of, like, we have a small merry-go-round, imagine we only give 1,000 bob. We only give 1,000 bob. I think we are like 13 of us. Now that's 13,000. If I patiently wait for my turn to get that 13,000, it's money that I will not give back with no loan. So that 13,000, I'll be able to put it into the business and I'll be able to grow a step ahead. So unless there's a very small interest, again, there are people who, like, if you are in groups of people who can give you money and refund with no interest or very small interest, then that's better than going for these money lending agencies that are, robbing you. Actually, they're taking advantage. They're really taking advantage of young entrepreneurs. Yes.
There's no way you'll ever.
There's no way you. And then you know what happens. Say, for example, Mshwari. It's one of the easily accessible loans in our phones. You get Mshwari today, and then the limit grows. So again, there's a higher profit. By the way, I calculated the Mshwari earlier. I realized they really have. You really pay a bigger loan limit. I mean, you really pay a bigger interest with time. So and then you know what happens once you pay. You feel like you have some money somewhere. In real sense, you don't have money. That's a loan that you have paid, but because it's easily accessible, you feel like you have some money somewhere. But if you learn to discipline yourself and tell myself, I have no money, I pay back my Mshwari loan, and I don't have money. Now the money that will come, I will work with that. So don't look at the money lending agencies like it is your money. It is money that you are going to pay big time. So learn to work with what you have, learn to grow small, and with that you will go somewhere. It's not about other people. There's a lot of influence. You had mentioned peer pressure. There's a lot of influence. Personally, in my field, there's a lot of influence. You see people, how they have grown their businesses, and you feel like, I want to be there. But it's always important to keep at your lane. Interact with your customers. Give your customers the best of services. I have learned to give my customers the best of services. I talk a lot with my customers. Most of my customers, we interact. In fact, I have realized that most of them are my friends now, because I want to know how did you like the cake? If you didn't like it, what was I would make it better. I had one instance where the cake backfired without my knowledge, so the customer takes it home and they didn't like it, so I had to redo because I wanted to keep that customer.
So the thing is, make sure you get to customer satisfaction.
Yes.
And I can see cakes here.
Yes.
I want to sample because we are almost winding up.
Yes.
Oh, it's easy. So what flavor is this?
We had done some orange cupcakes. Then with a frosting. Yes. So you will get a sample of the orange flavored cupcakes. We have so many more of this where we are located, and I'm sure you love them because they are nicely done.
I'll get a bite of that, but before that, tell us where we can get it.
We are located in Murang'a County, Mukoyo. I mean Murang'a town. On your way to Murang'a town, there's a place called Pork Center. It's on the highway. There's Pork Center, just the first floor, the third shop, the fourth shop. We are TJ Bakers. You can find us on Facebook, TJ Bakers. You can find us on Google. Once you Google Bakers in Murang'a, you will find TJ Bakers there. You'll also find Events TJ, also on the same platform, Facebook. And we are not limited to Murang'a. We offer our services, we deliver our services across the counties. So yes, that's where we are. And we would like people to keep coming and sampling what we have. Yes.
I'm going to sample this, but my camera person is watering. And I know we are almost winding up this show. Thank you so much for agreeing to come to the show. Thank you so much for the words of wisdom. I hope if I call you again, you'll come. So just look into that camera and talk to an entrepreneur as we wind up.
All right. Yes, I think I've said the bigger part of the portion I had. It's important to know what you want to do and keep at it. There are so many discouragements, but if you keep looking at what is affecting you negatively, you will never grow. Look at what is working, even if it worked bit by bit. Consistency is key as you're doing your business. Be consistent in and out of season. Don't grow weary just because you feel like you've not hit your target. Unless the business is not totally working for you, then you would need to go back to the drawing board. But if you see it working small, making small steps, keep at it. You may be surprised. I'm equally surprised at where we are right now, bearing in mind it's barely 2 years. So keep at it. Don't grow weary. You come sample our cakes. We can talk more. We do our wedding cakes, birthday cakes, anniversary cakes, all types of cakes. We do all types of cakes, and more to that, we also color your events. We are Events TJ. And yes, you will meet lovely people there, a lovely team we work with, and that's about it.
Wow. So that's it for the day. It was about women entrepreneurship. I know Kevin is somewhere wanting to